So now we come down to why Bhagavad Gita is the book of yoga. I'm going to take this point now because we have come here to understand yoga. First of all, for you, many of you must be knowing also, taking birth in India, that plus point is there. Yogeshwar. Yog Ishwar. Ishwar means master. Yog Ishwar. People talk of Ishwar, but they don't know the meaning of Ishwar. I'm going to talk about all these things. Bhagavan, Bhagavan, they say, but what that Bhagavan means? Sorry. Do not know. So Ishwar means controller. So Yogeshwar, master. Who's considered Yogeshwar? Krishna. So when a Yogeshwar is speaking, for example, an accountant is speaking, he'll talk the language of an accountant, accounts language, right? When a physicist is speaking, he'll talk about physics. So when Yogeshwar is speaking, he'll talk about yoga. And that's what he says in Bhagavad Gita. He says in the 4th chapter, 1st verse, he says, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga. I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god. Sun is a planet which is ruled by a person who is called sun god, whose name is Vivaswan. It becomes difficult, oh my God. No, you go to some very remote village in the African jungle, you find cannibals there, not wearing any clothes. Maybe having leaves on there, wrapped around them. And you talk to them about clothes, or you talk to them about skyscrapers, they'll say that you're gone crazy. Right? Is it right or wrong? You talk to them there, he says, come on, we can't build a single roof hut, we have to stay on the trees. And this man is talking of a skyscraper, which is a building of more than 90, 100 floors. Yeah, this man is nuts. So sometimes it happens with us also. When we start talking on this language, say, come on, how is it possible? So I'll start off with some particular words, like mostly people come up with this. Have you got any proof? Right? Everyone. You talk about spiritual science and the first thing they'll come out with, do you have any proof? Okay, I ask you a simple question. Anyone as a doctor here who's sitting here is a doctor? No medical practitioner? Okay. God forbid. You get a particular disease which you come to know through a blood test, right? You go to the pathology lab and you get your blood tested and they say, you got this virus in your blood, that's why this is the disease. And you tell the pathologist, the doctor, hey, I don't believe you. Show me proof. So, okay. He puts the slide under the microscope and says, now you see it? There is the virus. And he's showing you the virus and you say, I can't see it. Why can't you see it? Because you don't have the knowledge to see it. So please don't ask for proofs till you don't have some basic knowledge of that subject. Don't make this mistake. And that's the mistake we make with spiritual science. Do we not do that? Initially, you'll understand your disease through the symptom. You may not understand that what is the cause of the disease, but the symptoms will tell you you are diseased. Is it right or wrong? You feel feverish. You got fever. It doesn't go down for the last 15, 20 days. You go to the doc. And the doc then tells you the cause of this fever. But you have known that the cause is there, but you have come to know through the symptom. You can't know the cause. In the same way, sometimes people say, have you seen God? God is the cause, but the symptoms can be seen. That there is a creator. I have to start with this because it's very important. Mostly people question you. Tell me one thing, simple thing. I say, or you think yourself, that I had no father. I was born without a father and mother. To believe this, does it require a bigger leap of faith, or to believe that I had a father and mother? I'm repeating again. Does it require a bigger leap of faith to believe that I had no father? Or is it more easier to believe and have faith that I had a father and mother? Second, you see something very intelligent be designed and you say, no, it came on its own. So please. So there is Vivaswan. So in the Bhagavad Gita it is stated that this imperishable science, but this imperishable science of yoga was coming down through disciplic succession. I'll talk about that later on. It was coming down, then it got broken. That succession got broken. Disciplic succession means from teacher to student. It was coming from teacher to student, then student. Actually, there is only one teacher, rest of all of us are students. Only that one is the teacher, rest all of us are. I am a student first, then a teacher. So actually you are a son first and then a father. Right or wrong? You are a son first and then a father. In the same way, this is called succession. So what happened? This succession got broken. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, now I'll give you this same yoga, I'll teach you. So in Bhagavad Gita, he is talking about what? Yoga. So why take this knowledge? He says in the Bhagavad Gita itself, that by taking this knowledge, you will get supreme spiritual peace. He says, Jnanam labdava param shantim. Param shantim. That means you will get spiritual peace. And why did he say param? Try to understand this word param, Sanskrit. Param means which is away from this material nature. I'll explain about in detail in the next coming days. What does material nature means, what spirituality means. Actually, what is spirituality? But today I'll tell you what spirituality is. But in detail I'll talk to you in the coming days. So it's param. Para means away from this material thing is known as para. Is away. Is higher. That shanti, that peace you'll acquire. Now what does spirituality means? Try to understand these words you'll have, because I'll be again and again repeating these words. Please try to understand. Spirituality, one quality of spirituality is this, it is eternal. What is it? It is, that means it does not finish. And the other meaning of spirituality is it grows. It stays and it never goes down. Now, how do you get happiness? So, there are 3 steps to happiness. First, you will feel satisfied. In Hindi, we say santosh, Sanskrit. Satisfied, then after you are satisfied, you get peace. And when you get peace, you get happiness. Please don't try to jump the gun and go directly to happiness. You will not get happiness. We don't want to be satisfied and still want to be happy. Not possible. Because the first step to happiness is satisfaction. Satisfaction gives you peace, and peace gives you happiness. So here Krishna says that by taking this knowledge of yoga, what will you get? Supreme peace. That means supreme happiness. What are you after? Temporary happiness or permanent happiness? Permanent happiness. Yes. And remember one thing, in this world there are very few smart people who will be trying to know that where they can get permanent happiness. We are basically after temporary happiness, which is actually not happiness. We'll talk about it. Next he says, having achieved this knowledge, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Then he says, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross the ocean of miseries. I'm repeating this. Jnanam plavena eva vrijam santrashishyasi. He says, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross the ocean of miseries. But we don't want to take knowledge. Why do you come to the temple? Actually, temple is a place where you should know about God. You should be taught about God. Because here everything is there which can keep your mind steady so that you can think, you can be told about God. That was actually what temples were for. But today we have got half temples. Coming to temple is good. But you should know about God. You should be taught about God. That's very important. And here Gita, Krishna is saying, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, what will happen? You will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. So what does this mean? Small miseries though is nothing. Ocean of miseries you can cross over. But by what? By transcendental knowledge. Now what is this transcendental knowledge? What is transcendental knowledge? What is spiritual? Now you'll answer a few questions of mine and you'll understand spirituality like this. That what is spiritual knowledge? Now we were talking about knowledge. We said knowledge, after listening to you, we came to one point. We have come here to take knowledge, right? Why we have come here to take knowledge? To get happiness. That means we all of us know that knowledge gives happiness. And ignorance will give suffering, unhappiness. Clear? Is this point clear? Please, ignorance is bliss. I do not know who gave this statement. Because to write this statement also he needed knowledge. Sorry. Ignorance is not bliss. So ignorance will give you unhappiness, suffering. That means you will be unsuccessful. Please. Because today we relate everything with success. And who's a successful person? Who's happy? Today we rate success that how the other people think about us. Oh, he is great. It means I'm successful. Though I may be myself in a very, very bad soup, I may be still thinking, oh, others are thinking like this. Sorry, no. If you are happy, you are successful. And how will that happiness come? How will that success come? By knowledge. But tell me one thing. In the last 200 years, has peace increased or decreased? Because peace is satisfaction and peace are actually the basic components of happiness. In the last 100 years, okay. Has satisfaction and peace increased or decreased? Decreased. That means happiness is also decreased. But in the last 100 to 100 years, knowledge is increased or decreased? Increased. Oh my God, that's not a right combination. Because he said where knowledge increases, happiness should increase. But knowledge has increased, but happiness has decreased. Oh, how do you match these two? That's a big tangle. How do you get out of it? Simple, there can be only two reasons. One, that this knowledge is not knowledge. And the second is, when you hear the second one, you will say, no, the second one is right. That this knowledge is lacking some other knowledge, due to which this knowledge has not been able to operate. Because to say that this knowledge is not knowledge, like this mic is here, electricity is there, right? To say this knowledge is not knowledge is going to be wrong. It's not right to say that this is not knowledge. Then that means the second answer is right. That this knowledge is missing, something is missing. Now if you go to a person, he says, I'm going to give you a check. Call that check only here also, no? Because check has got two connotations. In India, we call that bill and you call it check here. So he says, I'm going to give you a check. And he starts writing zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And he's writing those zeros. And you are going, oh my God. Your heart is jumping. And then before that, he puts a line like this. In the end, he puts like this. There are almost 20 zeros there. What is the value of the zeros? Sorry, they are numbers. If you write numbers on the check, they have value. But sorry, the zero in itself has got no value. It's got no value. But this is the number. What number would you like to place before these zeros?
9.
Yeah, that's a smart person. Because sometimes people say 1. And you're crazy. You should be smart. Write 9. Same question I sometimes put up in India. I ask them. In Europe also I used to put up this question that if Bill Gates says, ask whatever you want from me. So what you should ask? So they'll give me different answers. When I go, you just tell him, adopt me as your son. And you got all the inheritance comes to you. And write down in your will that everything will be inherited by my son, adopted son. So 9, yes, absolutely right, 9. When you put a 9 before these zeros, all these zeros will have value. In the same way, this knowledge today are big zeros. I'm not saying to finish this. No. That will be foolishness. A smart person uses everything in the right way. Right? Snake poison is also used for treatment of snake bite. But it should go from the hand of a chemist. Right? A pharmacist. Not directly. You take it directly, you're gone. So in the same way, these numbers, these zeros, today knowledge is like this. I sometimes say it is like half-cooked food. If you're very hungry, you get half-cooked food. When you eat that food, what would you say? You'll say, that's great. But after 1 hour, So this material knowledge is also like this. Initially when you get it, you say, and after some time, It is not giving you that peace. It's not giving you satisfaction. It's not giving you peace because it is not made to give you that. Those zeros on the check will make your heart go thumping. But in the end, when he puts a line like this, draws a line on both the ends, you're finished. He'll say, come on. You may get a heart attack. So now what is that knowledge missing? Because in the zeros, what was missing? A number. In the same way, knowledge can only be completed by knowledge. Number can only be... Now if you put 0, 0, 0, then he draws a man in front of it. No use. He puts his photograph in front of it. No use. Because number can only be completed by number. In the same way, this knowledge is incomplete. It can only be completed by knowledge. Now we have to understand which knowledge is missing, because of which this knowledge has not been able to give us what it should give. And that is, knowledge should give happiness. Ignorance gives suffering. Now we'll come down to that in a minute. I'll ask you a few questions. First question. First question is a statement actually, to revive the whole thing. Knowledge gives happiness, ignorance gives suffering. Now first question. If a person, please listen to it. If a person gives all of his time or most of his time for less important things, is he called a man in ignorance or man in knowledge? Will he be happy or unhappy? Right? Second question. What is more important? A living body or a dead body? More important I'm talking about. I didn't say no importance. I said, what is more important? Living body or dead body? Living body, obviously, right? Now, what is common between living body and dead body? Body, absolutely right. Now, third question. If both have bodies, then why is living body more important than the dead body? Give me simple answer. Very simple answer. Which a common man can also understand. Life, absolutely right. He's got life. That means this body is getting importance due to life. That means the more important thing is life or the body? Life. And how much time are you giving to understand life? And how much time are you giving to understand things about this body? Your whole life you're giving for this body, not to understand life. Everything which you are doing today, all the advancement in technology, in science, in you name it, all knowledge is basically just connecting to the body, not to life. There is not a single, you can't, for coming here also, when we talk of spiritual knowledge, you say, I don't have time. And this study of life is known as spiritual knowledge. It is known as Adhyatma. This is actually what is spiritual knowledge. But we don't have time for this. Is it right? And we have time for the less important things. So that means we are in ignorance. We are giving most of our time, actually all time. When we come to the temple also, why do we come to the temple? For understanding life or for the body? Body. You're coming for the body. I want this, I want this, I want that, I want this. Is it right or wrong? That means every moment of your life you're spending is just for the body. That is a less important thing and you've got no time to understand what life is. And in India, that's got one thing which is a big, what should I say, big hoax going on, that you should study about life when you grow old. Spiritual knowledge is for old people. So I tell my father, Mama, you are a crazy person. You want to be happy when I become old. He says, yes. Because I have been suffering, so you should also suffer throughout your life. And when you become old, you take spiritual knowledge and be happy. But when is knowledge taken? Actually, knowledge starts from the mother's womb. Abhimanyu learned this knowledge of Chakravyuh in the Mahabharata, how to fight in the womb of his mother. How to fight a war. There were special formations in the war. He learned it inside his mother's womb. Child starts hearing, starts learning. Leave that aside. Starts learning the moment it comes out of the mother's womb. And we are so smart, we know how to make our mother dance to our tunes. Do we not know? A child knows what to do, how to get the attention of the mother when it is one month old also. So that is why the Vedas say that this spiritual knowledge and material knowledge should be taken side by side. Please understand one thing. It does not reject the material knowledge. Please. For your understanding and for what was the name? Lord Macaulay. Lord Macaulay, in 1830s, he wrote a letter to the British Parliament, where he stated that it is not possible to rule this country, India. They have got incredible knowledge, and I traveled the north to the length and breadth of India, and I did not find a single beggar or any person in any want. Then he says, but if you break their faith in their knowledge, it will be easy to rule them and make them feel that whatever is British is better than what they have. And I'm sorry to say, they have been successful and they are still being successful. Should I go ahead? I'll read out to you. I've got this in my card, visiting card. Eminent British historian Dr. Arnold Toynbee. He's written almost 12 volumes on history. He's considered one of the topmost. He's no more. He expired a few years back. He writes, "It is already becoming clear that a chapter which had a Western beginning will have to have an Indian ending if it is not to end in the self-destruction of the human race. At this supremely dangerous moment in history, the only way of salvation for mankind is the Indian way." Who's writing this? A British historian, Arnold Toynbee. What is this Indian way? Is actually the way of spirituality. We don't say you stop technological advancement, no, but use it for what? How to combine these two? It is possible. It is possible. Please remember one thing. To take up spirituality does not mean that you have to go into the jungle to practice spirituality. As you studied the science of body, you can study the science of life also in this wherever you are. Now, we have been doing yoga. We have been adding material knowledge in our life, right? Now let us do yoga with spiritual knowledge. Yoga is not only physical exercises, please, for God's sake, that is also bodily identification, right? When you do these asanas, why are you doing these asanas? To keep your body fit, right? Again, not to understand life. Whereas the asanas are a part of the Patanjali yoga system in which it starts from yam, niyam. It starts with specially do's and do nots. We have actually made everything into bodily consciousness. No life consciousness is there. So now to understand yoga, first thing. It goes up to samadhi. There are 8 levels of Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali, because I'm not dealing with Patanjali Yoga at this moment. But Rishi Patanjali said that yoga should be done to go to the stage of samadhi. Samadhi means to understand, to be in that state of level where you are every time in spiritual consciousness. You are living in matter, like you are in the ocean, but in a ship. Any problems? If I take you, I'll tell you, I take you into the ocean, and I tell you, I'll take you in a big, huge ship. It's okay, no problems then, right? Patanjali very clearly says this. The yoga system says this. But now how to understand yoga? Now please try to understand. Yoga means to unite. Now, I'll not repeat it again, but it will come up again in the later days. First thing, you have to link. Link means there are 2 things. First thing, remember this. First, who has to connect with whom? Right? So first comes not the whom. First comes the I. What has to connect? I have to connect. So yoga, first question you should ask is, who am I? Just a trailer I'll give you. You say every day, this is my body. When you say this is my house, are you the house or you are the owner of the house? You say my car. Are you the car or you're different than the car? You're different than the car. And you say my body. That means you are the body or you're different than the body. Come on, you never think about that also. So yoga starts with what? Who am I? Because first I should know who am I. I want to connect. For example, I want my car is out of gas. So first I have to understand, If my car is not moving, and I see the gas meter, no problem with me. The problem is with the car, because if you become unconscious also, then also the car will not move. So you understand that the car, in the same way, first understand who am I. Next, with whom have I to connect? Because I want to connect for getting happiness, which should be eternal. Which should be permanent. I don't want a temporary happiness. I want something permanent. Do you want a permanent job? A permanent business? You want permanent. You want a permanent customer who should keep coming again and again, and then keep adding more permanent customers. Or you want temporary customers. You want permanent customers. You want a permanent job. It's good so that you can, and in that permanent job you want raises every time. And spirituality means permanent and rising. I told you. Permanent and increasing. That is what spirituality means. Brahma. Another word for Brahma is, spirituality is Brahm. And what is the quality of Brahm? It stays, it's eternal, and it increases. So you are understanding with this example? If you are working as a service also, you want to have the same service and keep on. That's the best. Because if you change environments, again you have to reset yourself with that environment. Because if you're working 7-8 years somewhere, it becomes easier to, you know how to work around, go around the place and know how to move around with the people who are there, how they are working, what their mental setup is. And so on, you get raises there only, that will be great. Will that not be great? That will be great. So now, to connect with whom? So that I can get this permanent, eternal happiness. Number 3 question. Now, which are the conditions which are conducive or detrimental for the linking process? Yoga, hai na? When you want to connect, would you like to look out for the circumstances which are conducive? Right? You want to dry your clothes, and in the dryer you put water. What's going to happen? They're not going to dry. You're not created the right conditions. You're not right conditions for the clothes to dry. In the same way, what conditions should you create? Now, next, that are conditions. Now, which type of acts should I do so that connection becomes good with that whom? Whom should I connect with? What act should I do? 5th, when should I connect and how long should this connection be? How long this connection should remain? You understood?
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Nitansham Bhajasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindavan